Hey everybody, it's your boy Big James. Welcome back to another review of Married at First Sight. This is going to be season 12, episode 8. The title episode is Face to Face. Uh, this episode, just like the other ones, is unnecessarily 2 hours long. There's no reason for it. I don't know why they drag these out. It's mostly dead air. So, let's just get to it. Let's try to roll on through this. I'm going to go couple by couple and not scene by scene. I think that works out better for me. We're going to start out with Brianna and Vincent. It starts out where the last episode picked out with Vincent walking out. We find out this one here that he didn't go home. He said he went to the parking garage or whatever, and he just kind of, like, what am I doing? He went back, and him and Brianna were talking about it. And I guess, he just does. He didn't run away from it. He knew that something was wrong. It was best to just talk about it. And Brianna brought it up, but she didn't apologize because she really didn't say she did anything wrong, and she didn't do anything wrong. But she know that the way he took it, it might have seemed disrespectful. But she was like, I was laughing, you were laughing, we were both joking, and she was like, I just don't understand where it transitioned from a joke to you to me trying to hurt you. And that's something you learn in time, is his sensitivities, his the things that he really is personal about, stuff like that. And because she really just didn't know. I don't think she meant any harm by it. I don't think he meant that either. And he was overreacting, and he knew he was overreacting. So I think it's a non-issue because he brought it up later. He went to dinner with one of his friends, and he told him what happened, and his friend was like, that's it? Like, you finna leave this woman for that? That's nothing. I spilled champagne, and she didn't help me get it up. It was on my... So? It was childish and trivial, but he just took it personal because he doesn't know her. It was like pretty much a stranger laughing at him. So it was, and he said it best that it was mostly a cultural difference in communication. Like, from where he's from, his family, his stuff like that. He takes things like that one way, but from her family and her experiences, she's meaning it another way. So it's just a communication difference, and he's smart enough to recognize that's what it was, and I don't think that this will be something that it'll probably come up again, but it won't be so much of an overreaction on his part, and she'll be more aware of it, and they could probably talk about it better too. I don't know what else happened with them. Because it wasn't a lot with them two. I know at the meetup when she was at, who was it, Haley's? No, they were all the girls were together, and Brianna said that she kind of needs to grow in love with a person. She likes him, and he likes her, but she's not just like, oh, I'm in love with this person. It takes time for her to grow to love somebody, and that's what she's looking forward to. That's what she wants to do, and that's normal. That's understandable. They have a party later at their house. God, what do they do? Nothing. I don't think anything really happened with them. They have a party at their house, and and she gets to meet his family because his mom wasn't at the wedding, and some of his family didn't get a chance, weren't able to go to the wedding. So this is Brianna's first time meeting them. So she's nervous about that, and he's nervous about meeting her family because their families are very different. He has a very close family. They do everything together. They always talk. Hers isn't like that, but they are close. They're together. They're not that close, basically. But they love each other, and they're into each other, and they support each other, which they both like. And Brianna was learning Spanish from him because his mother speaks Spanish, and so she wants to be able to communicate and talk. So she's going into their culture some, going into their everything, their language, their food, their customs, everything, to learn more and to be able to engage more with him and his family because of how important that connection is to him, which is great on her. That's fantastic. And they play some kind of fun facts game where they ask questions about each other. And I think his mom really started to like her because she could see how much Brianna was trying, and how happy Vincent was. So I think that I think the party went off without a hitch. I think it really was. I think they were both very much into each other, and like their families could see how much they liked each other, how much how well they get along. So that was pretty much Brianna and Vincent. It wasn't a lot going on with them. It wasn't a lot going on at all. We go to Virginia and Eric. Virginia starts out with Virginia. She's out of town, or she's going out of town for a wedding, and Eric is staying in town for a wedding, I think. And he's worried about her because this is their first time being a separate since they've been married, and he's just concerned because he misses her, and he's nervous that she doesn't miss him. And he said that's really a telling thing is that if we're separated and she's with her friends, she's with all these people, she's partying, and she's not even thinking about him. He's like, that's concerning because here he is without her doing his stuff, and he's thinking about her all the time. So he like it makes him feel good to know that she's thinking about him, and that even when she's with her friends, she's thinking about her husband, which is sweet, which is what you really should do, is be concerned for your partner. But he doesn't know, and like he's walking the dog, and he's walking her dog. Her dog's crazy, and they run into Ryan, and Ryan's walking Claire's dog, and they chit chat for a minute. It's about nothing, And I think Eric talks to his friend, and he's telling her the same thing. Like, I really want to know, does she miss me? Or is it just all him? Because he doesn't want to be like a stalker or checking up on her because he's not her dad, he's her husband. But that's a trap he's starting to fall into. And I think his friend told him that. I think her friends also said, you don't want to start being her dad, trying to tell her what to do or give her a schedule. But he's worried because she drinks a lot. She openly drinks a lot. And she doesn't seem like really considerate of other people. She's very into herself. She's very selfish. And he's asking her to not be that way. And I really don't know about them. And when Virginia comes back, she seems real nervous. Like she's talking to him, and he seems very like scared, and she seems nervous about, because she's like, did I mess up? Did I do anything wrong? And he's like, well, did you miss me? Were you thinking about me? Was this cool? Am I cool? So he was scared, and she was nervous. Because I guess he said, he talked to her probably about every few hours, every couple hours or whatever. He asked her, like, hey, was that okay? Because he was like, I was just missing you. And he's like, I hope you were missing me. And I don't think she ever answered that she missed him. But she was like, it was fine for when you called me, when we talked. Because I don't know, I don't think it was fine with her, though. I think she was very upset by that. And she only talked to him to humor him. I don't think she gave a fuck about him not being around. I really don't. But she did it anyway to make him feel good. So she's nervous about her friends are coming over for a party. And she wants him to meet some of her guy friends. And her guy friends, they seem cool. And like some of his guy friends come over too. And she's kind of like hoping that they all get together. What you learned that made me worry, and I don't know if it made her, but it popped up to me, was that her friends was like, no, she drinks too much for us. Like, even her friends were like, she drinks a lot. They're like, we stop trying to drink with her. She outdrinks us all. We take breaks. She does not. And she says, she's like, yeah, they'll quit, and then I'll just go and drink by myself. She's like, I'll just go home and I'll just drink some more because they're stopped. Like, they'll say, okay, we'll do 3 shots and that's it. But she'll do shots all night, and then she'll drink beer, and then she'll drink some more. They said, well, we can't do that. And it's like they were like, we've never done that, and we've pretty much, they don't. And so that stood out to me, because it was like, it was odd that, okay, so his concerns aren't invalid. Even her friends are like, she drinks a lot. She drinks way too much. Because she's saying, oh, me and my friends, we do this. And her friends are like, we don't do this. She does this. So I think she might need Eric. She might need something in her life to slow her down because her friends are slowing down. They've slowed down. They're like, yo, we can't keep doing this. You're on your own. And she's like, I'm going to keep doing this. And Eric might be that thing that kind of stops her. So that's a concern to me. I don't even think Eric paid attention to that when they were saying, because they were all laughing and joking. And I was like, that's pretty serious. That's pretty serious because she's using her friends as an excuse for her drinking. And they're like, we don't do that. That's all you. And Eric, he gets a one-on-one with her friend Cole, and they're talking, and he tells Cole, like, I'm worried about her commitment. Like, does she really want to be married, or does she just want a boyfriend? And Cole is like, she wants the husband. She was talking about it for a long time. She's wanted it for a long time. And that, so for her to be in this situation, to be married, it's what she's always wanted. She might not know what that means when she's saying it, but it is what she wants. And she is committed to it, but she might not know what that means to be committed to it. That's how I feel. She wants to do it, she's committed, but she doesn't know exactly what that means. I don't think she's ever been in a healthy relationship. Just listen to her talk and what she expects to happen. Because despite being husband, even if you're boyfriend, girlfriend, you still should be concerned and care about the other person. And I don't know why it seems so odd to her that that's the case. Well, but he liked her friend Cole. They got along great. And I think that was it. I think he said a lot of his fears were alleviated about her sleeping with her guy friends, but his concerns about her drinking, I doubt they're alleviated at all. She drinks too much. And she shouldn't be sleeping over at these other guys' houses. That's ridiculous. But that's all I got for them. We're going to go to Haley and Jacob. Haley and Jacob, I don't know what to say about them. It seems like they can be good together, but I think Haley is the problem. I don't think it's Jacob. Haley met her friend for lunch, and she told her friend, like, the problem is that, she doesn't like his clothes, the way he dresses, the 80s. And her friend was like, is that it? Because it sounds very superficial. You got a problem with his sense of style? Okay, just buy him some new clothes if that's what the big deal is. And which is honestly is the truth. If the only thing you can say that you don't like is the clothes he wears, his decorative skills, then redecorate his shit and buy him some new clothes. And Jacob said, like, yo, I don't mind buying new clothes. I don't mind wearing other stuff. And he doesn't dress weird. He dresses normally, like a normal person. I don't know what she's talking about. I know when he's playing around, like, he has a closet full of 80s clothes, but I've never seen him wearing 80s clothes. Like, he doesn't talk like somebody from the 80s. I think she's making a big deal out of nothing. I really do. And I agree with her friend. Like, that's superficial. You're upset about things that aren't even an issue. That's not a thing. And Jacob said, when he was talking to his friend, that he's worried about them falling in love at the wrong times. Like how when they first got married, like how he went all in hard and she was kind of like pulling back. She wasn't really into it. She was hesitant. And he's afraid that later on down the line, she's going to go all in with the love stuff and he's going to be pulling back and they'll just be passing like ships in the night. Like, they were going hard at different points. And that's really what it looks like. It looks like Haley is starting to try harder and Jacob is starting to pull back. Because he's like, I'm going so hard and she's not receiving it. But now she's starting to receive it and she's going harder. So and he is noticing it and he's afraid of it. He's like, I don't want that to happen. But he's letting it happen. So that's on him. They have they talk about, Jacob says at a meeting with all the guys that he can't drink with Haley because they were saying like Haley and Virginia drink the most. And Eric was like, I can't drink like that. And Jacob was like, yeah, I can't drink like that either. Like he was like, she drinks a lot. And he tries to keep up with her, or he tries at least not so she's drinking alone. He doesn't want to let her drink alone, but he doesn't want to drink as much as her. So they have the party, and Jacob is like, he's telling her, no, I'm good, I don't want to drink. She's like, well, I don't want to drink alone. And he was like, well, just give me a beer. You know, he doesn't want to do all that drinking. Because this is the thing about it. Haley drinks just as much as Virginia, but Haley's not as sloppy as Virginia. Oh, and Haley was the one in like the first episode that was puking, not Virginia. I think Virginia can handle her liquor, but she's just wild. And I think Haley is more reserved and can control herself better. But they drink pretty much the same amount all the time. They did like it's crazy. And they talk about the marriage with their friends because their friends come over, and I think Haley's friend tells Jacob that Haley is a commitment phobe because she said, I've known Haley since we were in college together, and I've never known her to be in a relationship. So it's like, so this is years. She's like, I've known her since we were freshmen in college, and I think Haley is 28. So this is from like what 18, 19 to 28, and she's like, I've never known her to be in a relationship. She's never been in one. She's never done it. She meets somebody, she likes them, and then she's like, yeah, I'm done. She gets out of it. She finds a way out of it. And she's a commitment phobe, and she feels like that's what Haley is trying to do. And Jacob was saying, like, yeah, you know, she's trying to get out of it, but then she's kind of realizing that she needs to stop doing that. And her friends say, you need to stop doing that. If there's nothing wrong with him, don't try to find something wrong and then blow it up to be something big, which is what she's doing. And they ask, and I think the party is over, and Haley asked Jacob what was he doing when he was 28. He said he was flipping houses with him and his dad. But he said then they ran into like the housing market crashed, so they lost. I can't remember how much money. They lost a lot of money on the house that he was flipping. And then he got into bodybuilding. She asked, well, how'd you get into bodybuilding? How did that happen? You get into natural bodybuilding. And he said, oh, it was just a thing. You know, he was like, he worked for a company. I think they were advertising. And they were looking for people to do marketing, to do photo shoots and advertise the products for some fitness stuff. And one of the guys was like, hey, you know, you could do some bodybuilding. You look great. And he said, you know, he's like, all right. So he said he just did it. And he was like, oh, I tried. So he just did natural bodybuilding. And she was like, that's cool. And he asked her about boating. And she was like, yeah, she loves boating. So I think Jacob might be selling himself short on the, I don't do anything stuff. Because from just to listen to him talking, he does a lot. It's not as like Haley, she goes places. She does a lot of traveling and doing a lot of grandiose stuff. But he does a lot of stuff that's just risky. He does a lot of stuff. He just says, sure, I'll do that. So just in that conversation, when they were talking, she was kind of shocked at what he was saying. Like, you know, we just started doing stuff. And we said, hey, I'll do that. Or, yeah, we were doing this and just do that. So he takes risks. He does stuff. He doesn't do a lot of traveling to do it. He just kind of does something financially risky or physically risky, but he's not traveling to go to the other side of the world to climb a fucking mountain, which is what she's doing. He'll just like, I just climb the mountain here, you know. But yeah, that's it. I really think they can work. I really do, because I think that he's committed, and if she gets over a fear of being in relationships, it'll work. Because I think they have more in common, and they're more alike than they think. But if she's actively trying to get out of a relationship, and he's not going to fight, because that's one of the things that he said talking to her friends, is that he usually finds himself getting screwed over, and that could build up something in his mind that that's all that's going on. So it could either be good or ugly. It's really up to them. It's like, it's hard to tell at this point. But that's all that they did. Claire and Ryan, I don't know what they did. this episode. Clara, I don't know what they did. They didn't. She was complaining because she went to at the meetup they did. She was talking about how Ryan is so conservative, and I think it's starting to bother her a lot. Not a little bit, significantly, how conservative he is because he doesn't do anything. I think is the best way to describe that. He is very pulled back. He doesn't drink a lot. She was talking about how they were at a party with her friends and they had Jello shots, and she was like, everybody is like, no, no, the Jello shots. So they offered him some, and she was thinking he was going to say no, but then after a while he would come get him. She was like, no, he said no, and he meant no. He's not doing Jello shots because he told the guys at the meetup like, I don't drink like that. I'm not a big drinking person. And he told her that too. Like, I don't drink a lot, and I especially don't drink a lot around people I don't know, which is extremely intelligent. So I don't know why she had a problem with that. He was like, yeah, I don't know these people. I'm not finna get hammered around them. Which makes all the sense in the world. So why she was baffled by it, I have no idea. But she didn't like it. And she's worried about his interest in her, whether he likes her, and she's worried about her heart because she's like, I'm going all in. I'm giving this everything I got. I am going forever with all my love. Because she's like, I'm just going to give you all my love. And she's like, he is giving me nothing. And she's upset because they've had no sex. She's like, we're doing other stuff, but we haven't had sex. And I think she said that, I'm doing other stuff to him, but he's not doing anything back. So she's sexually frustrated. And I'm like, oh, Ryan, no. Like, you letting this woman take care of your business? And you not doing anything for her? Because she was describing it like he's doing nothing for her. Like, he just ain't even like, that ain't my problem. And so she is frustrated. She made that plainly clear. At the party, she was saying, they had a housewarming party, but she was like, she's never seen him with his shirt off. She doesn't really know anything about him intimately or sexually. Like, she's like, what? It's like, and she's not used to that because she said that, in her relationships before, she's fast. She's like, I go pretty quickly. I'm going all in. And, she's like, this is just weird. And she's like, I even respect him for wanting to go slow. But don't you go slow sexually, but be okay with me going fast sexually. Because she's like, I'm hooking him up, but he ain't hooking me up. She didn't go into specifics, but I have a thing in mind of what she's saying. And, oh, Ryan, why you do her like that, man? No. And she feels there's more to him than what he's showing her. Because he still seems kind of nervous around her. Like, he's just like, oh, I don't know. Because he doesn't know her. So that might be it. He wants a mental connection. Which might be bullshit. Because if you letting her help you out, you don't need no mental connection. That's it for them. I ain't got nothing else. Because there's nothing else going on. Who we got? Who's next? Oh, Paige and Chris. This goddamn shit show here. Paige and Chris. Chris is just a piece of shit. He gets his pastor and his friends together to talk to them, but he like, I can give you some advice and tell you what's going on. And they're like, oh, I bet you have a twin. I bet it's this. And he's like, no, I'm getting a divorce. And that shuts all the plan that they was doing the fuck down. And he tells them what's going on. He said he had no attraction to her the wedding day when she came down the aisle. When he saw her in her dress coming down the aisle, he had no attraction to her, and he figured like, yo, if I have sex with her, maybe I'll build some track. But he said even after the sex, spending time with her, doing anything, like I was just absolutely not attracted to her. And then he found out that his ex was pregnant, and he was like, he saw this as he's gonna go be back with his baby mom, and he just was like, I'm gonna get a divorce from her. And his pastor and his friend were just sitting and listening to him, and they were like, this sounds selfish. You don't have to do any of this stuff you're doing. And that Paige is a diamond. He's making a big mistake by not being with Paige, because Paige is everything he wanted and more. And any reason he can come up with to not be with her, to not treat her right, is all selfish, superficial, and bullshit. They didn't say that, but that's what it came across as. They were like, you're letting this great thing go for selfish reasons. You're letting this great woman go for stupid stuff. And then he gets pissed off because I don't know what he wanted them to say, but that clearly wasn't it. He wanted them to pat him on the back, say, you're doing the right thing. And they were like, no, you're doing the wrong thing. You've been doing the wrong thing from day one. You've been doing the wrong thing all this time. Everything you've done is wrong. You've made a mistake. You've done her wrong. And you're doing yourself wrong. Chris didn't want to hear that. He pretty much checked it. He started getting on his phone and said, yeah, I tuned y'all out. I don't want to hear nothing else. And they were like, yeah, because he's being selfish. He's being childish. He's acting inappropriate. So it's not even like we see it and are like, oh, Chris is acting away. They're like, dude, this is messed up. What you're doing to her, what you're doing to marriage, what you're doing to this whole process. It was like, this was a colossal waste of time. If you're going to act like this, if you're going to do this, if you're going to treat her like this and treat this whole process, if you're going to treat marriage like this, what are you doing? And he just retreated like a baby, a childish ass little boy, and he just walked away. Later you see Paige, and Chris calls Paige because he's like, oh, I want y'all to meet. He wants her and his baby mama to meet. And Paige is like, for fucking what? To do what? And he's like, oh, I want y'all to clear the air, whatever, because he's fucking child and can't open his mouth to talk. And Paige says she got to think about it. I'm like, there's nothing to think about. And then she meet her, but it had a production saying, we want y'all to meet. Just do it. Just try it out. Just talk. It had to be somebody telling her behind the scenes, just please do this. Because she meets with Chris and Mercedes, his ex, and they say nothing. It is just silence. And Chris sits away from Paige, and Mercedes sits closer. They have it set up to where Paige is in a chair and there's a couch. He sits on the couch away from Paige. So Mercedes had to sit right next to Paige. Which is like, what? They don't even know each other. So he was sitting like he wanted some shit to start. Like he wanted, why would they talk? They don't know each other. Childish bullshit. Anyway, nobody talks. They just sit there. Because remember, he the one arranging this meeting. He the one wanted them to meet. And he doesn't say shit. The fuck? I think Paige starts out talking. She was like, I don't know what he wants to talk about. Like, I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. But, you know, my husband has done these terrible things to me. And then Paige and her, like, one-on-one, she was like, is she even pregnant? Because she doesn't look pregnant at all. So, and Paige asked her, like, how far along are you? And Mercedes is like, oh, I don't know, about 7 weeks. You know, so almost 2 months. She does not look 2 months pregnant. She might not be showing yet. 2 months is kind of early, but She doesn't dress like she's pregnant. She doesn't act like she does nothing like she's pregnant. And she even smirks and jokes and talks about like she's not pregnant at all. It's just something that it's just a lie they're telling. Which could be wrong, that she could actually be pregnant. But she's just not showing. And Paige and Mercedes said that she didn't know Chris was getting married. She didn't know any of this was happening. She didn't know anything. She's confused by what's going on. And Paige says she's confused. So whatever Chris was trying to do by having them meet, it wasn't going to work because they were both confused about this entire thing. They didn't know what was happening. The only person that knew what was going on was Chris. And he didn't talk. He didn't have anything to say. So they were just like, what are we doing? And Paige tells, Chris has done this to me. He's treated me like this. He's talked to me. He talked to me bad. He's done all this stuff. And Paige is like, yep, he is a piece of shit. He does these things. I didn't know y'all would get married until I talked to after the marriage. When I talked to him. That's when she found out. And she said she couldn't believe it because right before that, they were together. So it was weird for her to I'm engaged to this person. We break off the engagement. The next time I talk to him, he's married. So that was confusing and weird and a lot for her. And Paige is like, yeah, this guy I just married, it says, oh yeah, I was just engaged a few months ago. And also, I was just sleeping with this woman a few weeks ago. Oh, she's pregnant. Yeah, that's a lot for her. So they were both just lost. And Chris was being childish. And Paige was like, listen, this doesn't serve me. He's done this. He's doing all this. And then Chris gets upset she blamed all this stuff on me and all of this. Because then he gets mad because Paige is talking to Mercedes. And Mercedes is listening and going you're right. He gets an attitude at Paige because, she's talking about me. And Paige is like, no, I'm talking to her. And when you want to talk about me, you can talk to me. He's like, but I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to her. Me and her having a conversation. You just happen to be the subject. And we're both talking about the things you've done to each one of us. He gets in his feelings. He gets upset. He's being childish. And then Mercedes is defending Paige. No, this is her truth. This is her life. This is what you've done to her. She has a right to talk about her life. Chris don't want to hear that. He feels he may not be the bad guy. And I've been honest the whole time. I've treated you right. Motherfucker, win. You've lied to her the entire time. When Paige told Mercedes, I'm afraid I might be pregnant, or I was afraid that I might have been pregnant, Mercedes was like, by who? And Paige didn't answer. She just looked at Chris like, oh, you didn't tell this woman that we were having sex. And Mercedes said in her confession Chris never told me they had sex. He told me they never had sex. So how fucking honest are you? Well, I'm just telling the truth. Get the fuck out of here, bullshit. So he lied and told Mercedes that him and Paige were never intimate. They never slept together. That Paige was all up on him. But, he was being a man and kept her back. Bullshit. He was pretty much taking the pussy from Paige. And so his whole, I'm just being honest, even after he knew he wanted to go back to Mercedes, he was still sleeping with her. He was like, I never told her. It was so many lies that he was saying, and now he done fucked up and let them meet each other, and they blowing all his shit up. Because they comparing stories and timelines and scenarios, and it's fucking his whole lie up. But he gonna sit here and say, I was just being honest. Clearly you were not being honest. You were lying to both of us. And then Mercedes made him even more fucking pissed off when she said, I know he's telling you He wants to get back with me, but that ain't gonna happen because I don't want him. So he's more pissed because Paige is like, this relationship does not serve me anymore. There's nothing in this for me. And Mercedes is like, I don't want him because he's selfish and he's a liar. So now he's sitting over there looking stupid on his phone, and it serves no purpose. He gets up, he walks out, and he leaves, and Mercedes and Paige and him like, he does that. They're both like, yeah, he's childish, he does shit like that. He gets frustrated, just walks away because his feelings are hurt, because people are calling him on his shit. He arranged this. None of this had to happen. He wanted them to fight over him. They weren't going to do that. He wanted them to be like, oh, we'll be fucking sister wives and have a threesome or something. They weren't going to do that. They were finna come together to talk about your low down, dirty ass. But you weren't counting on that. Chris ain't shit. He's full of shit. He's rude. He starts talking over Paige. Mercedes is like, stop doing that. So he showed his whole ass. Because he was just being a fucking baby and crying. It's ridiculous. I don't know how he even got on this show. He's not worth the time and the effort. He's not worth the fucking film. He is one of those dudes that you swear can't really exist. But then here he is. You're like, ain't no guy like that. People, main dudes don't do that shit. But here he is. He's doing shit on camera. On record. And then lying like, I'm just being honest. No, you have been documented lying. I hope Paige means what she said. She's fucking done with him. And the preview looked like they're talking. I don't know why I don't know why she would ever meet him again. What's the point of talking to him? He tells you, I want a divorce. I'm going back with my ex. He's doing all this stuff to humiliate, demean, and belittle you. The fact you haven't just whooped his ass is shocking enough. Because he is going out of his way to do you wrong. I hope she's done. I hope this is just fucking done. I really do. It's not even entertaining to watch anymore. It's not even a good show no more. It's sad. It's like I really don't want to watch it no more. I don't know if they were supposed to be like this big attraction, but they're turning into something you want to look away from. And it's all because of him and because of her letting him do this stuff to him. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Leave a comment down below. Make sure you like, subscribe. And we'll continue watching this circus fall apart together. I see y'all, man. Peace.